And now from the Flat Earth capital, Flat Earth Radio Live is proud to present Hunting the Flat Earth with Randy and Craig.
Hunting the Flat Earth with Randy and Craig.
To another episode of Hunting the Flat Earth. I am Craig McCoy.
And I am Randy. We are looking through this flat Earth thing, to finding out the flat truth and different conspiracies that we are looking at.
I wanted to tell you that the Flat Earth movement is really huge globally, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it is.
Which is a statement I heard and I thought was funny.
We have a lot of stuff we wanted to go over tonight. We wanted to talk about that me and Craig went over today. But we want to introduce a book to you guys. This is called The Flat Truth, written by Mark Hollander, right here in Mandeville, Louisiana. Mark Stephen Hollander. The Flat Truth is sold on Amazon. He is an author of this book, and it has a lot of insight of what flat earthers are talking about.
Yes.
And trying to find different conspiracies about flat earth as you guys do your research, just like we're doing ours.
He is the one who inspired us to walk down this rabbit hole that we're in. We thank you, Mark, for this strain on our lives.
But you can also stream us on Flat Earth Radio Live, and you can watch us on YouTube.
It's Flat Earth. It's FERLive.com. So FERLive.com. You can hear us on the radio around the world. Oh, I shouldn't say around the world. Across the world. And also you can get us on YouTube. If you go to just punch in Flat Earth Radio and show title Hunting the Flat Earth.
Correct.
And some super awesome cowboy photos of ourselves.
Well, me and Craig are on our little wild adventure, Randy and Craig's adventures in Flat Earth. But we wanted to talk a couple things that we had scheduled for last week, but we had a little bit of a problem. That was a mix-up. One of our producers was ill, and we didn't get on. But
he's doing good now. He's doing good, and everything's good. So that's all that matters.
That's right. But so last week we were going over this Gleason map, which I thought we'd start off with a little bit. Is kind of the map that flat earthers have used for centuries. It's been I think they said 18.
Mark probably knows exactly
1892.
1892. So that's why we're glad Mark's here, because Mark is a fact machine.
Right. So and basically what a lot of people we've been doing some research this week, looking at weird things, and you can look a lot up on YouTube, and just to check out some of these stories that these different flat earthers or globers are talking about. We saw this one where people are thinking that the flat earth in their movement it just falls down, and it looks like they'll show you a picture of a ship or something, and it looks like it just goes to the end of the earth and it stops.
But impossible, because there is an ice wall, and they even show this. If you look at Antarctica pictures, you'll see the ship parked up next to this, probably a 200-foot ice wall, maybe even bigger.
150 to 300.
150 to 300 feet. And so that's what holds everything in.
That's what's holding all of the water, and where the water table is.
Exactly. And in Antarctica, if you look into Antarctica, that's suspicious. There's a treaty of all the governments to where you, the common man, cannot go to Antarctica. And if you do get permission to go to Antarctica, they bring you to a symbolic place where they have a symbolic South Pole. And they even tell you that. They say, This isn't the South, the other South Pole, they're real curving into the water. And it looked like the cars were just taking a turn and going into the water. And that does not exist on the bridge. There is not, that's not there.
Sure.
There's no curve into the water.
It looked like the road just curved right into the water.
So you're getting some kind of atmospheric distortion, whether it be from the water or whatever. And I don't think, and a lot of people try to debunk flat Earth using water. Like they did the test of the Salton Sea with the flag, And I just think that's not the way to go about. I mean, what about all these
Water's
other?
always level.
Water's always level.
It needs a container.
Look at this bottle. Watch. No matter which way I turn it,
It's going to stay level.
that water is staying level in this bottle. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally, I agree with that.
I can answer that question in about a minute, because I think it's a valid question. You guys have explained. The question, I'll answer it this way. Modern technology in 2019, you would think that they would have factual, technical skills to prove courage in the world. And they more oftentimes than not, they use Aristophanes, the sticks from 500 years ago. If we really want a curvature spherical world, then why are they using something that somebody used 2 sticks in Alexandria, Egypt, 500 years ago, Aristophanes?
Where's the new test? The new test.
There's no new test because there's no curvature. You see, they can't prove it, and that's what the interesting part about what you say, Mike, who's a friend of mine for 45 years. He uses a P1000 camera that's actually got the ability to that the reflection of the atmosphere with the sun, the bridge making the water look like it's curved. I mean, it could be convex. That's atmospheric distortion 20 miles away. Because my question to Mike was this: well, Mike, if that's the case, you're looking at curvature 20 miles away, when the longest photograph ever taken in the world was from Spain to France. That's 285 miles away, from the Pyrenees Mountains to the Alps in France. That mountain should have been below the horizon almost 11 miles. So you would never have seen that mountain range. So I'd rather...
You would never see that mountain range.
Explain that one, Mike.
And he could, and that's the reason why I thought that the post was doing an injustice of himself trying to find truth.
Yeah, well,
that makes sense.
And there was another one he showed us. Another one was of an astronaut, and you know how I love these astronauts. I don't believe
Right,
them.
he was, this is a good one.
This guy was taking a shower. First, he's bald-headed, so no reason to shower his head. But he put the water on his head, and the water was curving onto his head,
Rolling around.
Almost like gravity was involved in this. You know, because if you're in space, then that water should be out of control, floating away.
It was stuck on his head, and it was kind of rolling. I showed it to you.
Right.
You know,
Now,
that doesn't make sense to me.
It could be a lot of different things.
15 seconds, it was a 15 seconds. I love to say a little. So that could have been done in
You
that
got
way.
virtual reality. There's a lot of virtual reality. There's a lot of different things that could have been.
I had some discussions with Rick probably about a couple months ago. We talked about this. He was explaining that to me, and he said that you're an airplane, and if you go into a descent mode in an airplane, you can actually float around.
That's correct. They have that zero gravity plane.
They have a zero gravity plane that he thinks NASA may be using to do all of these things.
Great question, Randy. They actually, what they do is zero gravity plane that's got the NASA logo.
You heard of this, okay?
Yeah, it goes to a 52% angle when it's going up, and the plane is actually traveling faster than the human body can react.
Mark, come over here and show us.
Yeah, come on. We want to see your pretty face on camera.
Yeah, whatever.
Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Stephen Hollander.
Thank you guys for having me.
He's also growing his beard back.
Mark, can you show us that when you show the viewers what you were showing?
Yeah, what they do, Rick, is they go from a 52-degree angle straight up, and they're going to floor it. They're going to go over 600-700 miles an hour, faster than the human body can react, and it brings a zero gravity effect.
Yes.
Now, all the women and the astronauts with their hairspray, it's so fake. It's
so fake. It
stupid.
looked like the girl who just posted a video of her hair frozen, sticking up. She went outside, and her hair froze, and I was like, wow, she could work for NASA. She looked like she was on a NASA craft, because her hair just stayed in one spot.
It's like the John Stiller movie when she went up and
you
met
can see,
that girl.
yes, like they were using that. Yeah, they were using that special sauce to make the hairspray, and but it looked the same. And her hair moved a little.
It was so fake.
It was almost as if she was in zero gravity.
It actually puffs like a Pillsbury Doughboy. mercury on top of aluminum, just pure aluminum.
Wow.
And it's called parabolic maneuvers, by the way, all right? When NASA puts that plane 52 degrees, then it shoots down and gives the exact reverse effect. But you have civilians that's done these experiments that they do at NASA, and they all floating around the plane doing swim like that. Right. And they're only 25,000 feet up. So I just want to let you guys know.
Yeah, no.
Crew of Jackass, the TV show.
Yeah.
They did it. They're floating all over the place.
Yes.
Parabolic maneuvers is what it's called.
But I thought it funny because, we love Mike. We love talking to him. But when he showed me that, I was like, well, dude, you believe in NASA. You think all this NASA stuff is real. Because that's really, think about the lies, man, I mean, let's go back to...
It's trickery. Because, I tell you what I do believe in, and I do believe that we did not land on that moon.
We did.
I think that's totally a hoax.
6 times.
Just to prove that we're the biggest power in the universe. That's where that's
totally made sense.
And it made sense to do it.
But they're still pushing this space thing, and here's why. Here's a theory on why. They want you to believe in aliens. Remember, you were writing a book about aliens. And the reason being, how would people follow, if we had an enemy that was from another planet, it'd be easier to make you follow a one world leader. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we have these, these extraterrestrials are out to destroy us. It's pushing an agenda. It really is. Because they like, and they love us. They want a one world currency.
I really do believe that that's what they're doing.
Atheistic agenda at that.
It really is.
Atheistic. It's against what God's truth is.
Big time.
And, like we were talking, go back towards the leveling of what Mike was talking about on the lakefront in Mandeville. And it could, like when you said this about a month ago when we heard about it, you said, well, that it's not a perfectly flat. The water wasn't perfectly flat. It was rippling. It had a ripple effect. But the heat transfer could be strewn with our eyes.
Correct.
Yeah, I think if you're going to try something like this, you need to try it on a perfectly flat day with no ripples.
Correct.
I mean, in the lake, I've seen the lake with no ripples.
But you still could have some kind of effect with that. Because of water. Just the water, heating, cooling, whatever, it might obscure that.
So, I mean,
that's why I don't think that's a good test.
Well, and I think I'm going to answer this. I'm not going to use his last name, but Mike.
No, great guy.
I love him. And
he's got a lot of,
Yeah, but there's one thing that everybody listening to us tonight on Flat Earth Radio Live, and I think Randy and Craig probably can't attest to this at this point because they're too new. They newbies.
We are.
Would be this. Mike's been looking to it for 1 year. A lot of times it's not enough. I think a lot of times your emotional ego fights that space. Come on, they can't be lying. You know that when lightning strikes, it's got to have a double conductor. It makes more sense that the lightning is hitting the firmament and hitting the ground. You have to have a double conductor. You can't have endless space to have lightning strikes. That's a proven point right there.
That is a pretty.
You have to have a double conductor of electricity.
Right.
So you have to have something that the lightning is actually hitting on top, which is the roof of God. That's what makes space impossible. I'm going to answer this for Mike.
Keep going back to while you're there.
Mm-hmm.
While we're in space real quick. Because Craig, we are in space right now.
Right now?
Yeah. Right.
So we were talking before the show. We were talking about Craig had a just while we're in that area of the sun. And you have these planets. It's in a line. We're going to show you the image that he was...
Which we're supposed to do
the heliocentric.
The heliocentric model. So the sun is in the center, and the planets all rotate around that.
Right.
And it takes a full year for that rotation around the sun.
So we're going to come back into the sun. But you had a good point. He's like Randy.
6 months ago, I'm looking at the same stars that are in the sky right now.
Because the opposite what we were taught. The geocentric model would have the Earth as the center instead of the sun.
Correct.
And all the planets, all the sun, moon, stars revolving around is still stationary Earth. So they taught us upside down.
Because if this was right,
geocentrism,
we would be in line with say we get in line with Mercury or Venus or whatever, we would have no sun. It would stop in the middle of the day.
Right.
Yes.
And you wouldn't be able to see
why is that
during the daytime.
You see
And
what I'm saying?
there's a bunch of plants.
Guys, you see what we're talking about?
There's a bunch of plants.
Right.
I wish we had that little moat. You remember that little thing in school? Had the sun in the
I'm
center.
gonna find one on Amazon.
Let's
for us.
find one of those.
Look.
Order that. So we can
Yeah,
show
now I must finish my point about Mike, our friend. If in fact he could be a very, very famous man in the work collective of the Flat Earth, when you find, you will never, truly find, you will never ever go back to a spinning ball. Never. He may be the first person I've ever known in my life. He could be famous. Who found Flat Earth and went back to the ball.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
I
just-
don't think,
maybe
look,
not though.
when I talk, I think Mike is more like me and Craig, or, you know, it's just, he's doing his research, and he's probably on a 5. He's a little bit more flat earth than we are, so it's not like he's a total, you know, he totally believes that the earth is round. He's just questioning, and he's, in his defense, he's probably like a 5, you know.
I agree.
I'm just saying, you know, he's not
Mike,
there yet.
Mike, I love you, but
He's not
I
listening.
think you work for NASA. I really do. The guy drives a beautiful car. He came over in that Corvette.
He does.
How
What a
is this
great
guy
guy.
this has to be NASA.
And he is, well, look, he is so serious about this, and I know that he sits up at night contemplating in his head this and that, just like we kind of do.
But he does have a good idea. He wants to take the 200 proofs by Eric Dubé and go through the steps and try to see which ones hold. I think
This is a good book here, too. The Flat Earth Conspiracy by Eric
by
Dubé.
Eric Dubé.
So if you can see
And
that.
I think he wants to deep stuff, but I don't know if you can do that with everything. You know, there may be a couple of things, and and maybe you can explain it in a way to maybe make us think twice about it. Because Mike's pretty smart, man.
Let me tell you, he is. And when these people, when you talk, like, you know, some of the flat earthers, they're freaking, that's it. They're not turning around at all.
Research flat Earth.
That's exactly what it is to do in the world.
That's it.
And he's confused, and he's trying to convince himself, being the 5 that he is, he's trying to convince himself, let me disprove it. And he's a great researcher.
He's just
Mike,
gotta
but
do
he's
a
just
lot of
not there
homework.
yet.
Yeah.
But you might get there.
We do,
before he
yeah.
does,
Yeah.
Yep.
You know.
You know, and daily, I'm shit. Like I said, last week, I was kind of depressed too last week because I was going more into that global thought. And then today I was reinvigorated. I went on YouTube and I was watching things and a lot of points were brought up.
I'm
and
telling you,
like,
this happens
you
to
know?
all of them.
Phew.
It has to.
It's rough.
Because
Evolution of thought.
you'll think one thing and then you'll flip around, then you'll see a video with the guy with the water on his head and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of, you know, what
It's not easy being a flat earther or just going through this process.
No, and you know, and it's something that, you know, and it's something hard to talk to people about because, you know, just you told your dad, he was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, a lot of people don't care. They got too much going on.
You know,
They don't wanna
me
worry
and
about
Craig,
the lots.
we really kind of talk about it amongst ourselves pretty much, definitely every day. You know,
For the most part, because a lot of people think you're crazy.
they do.
You know, hey, we've established that we have been crazy 20 years ago. We thought we were crazy. We're still crazy. We haven't changed, folks.
You're right.
You know, but this stuff makes sense.
And when you're talking about the flights, you know, even the airplane flights, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
You know, because, you know, if you have a flight and you're flying to Spain from the United States, or and I've always said, well, if the Earth is spinning, you know, if we're on a spinning globe, it's going to take
Less time to get back.
And on that case, it's not true.
Nope.
How do they not?
Oh, but then people will tell you, oh, it is less time, but that's due to wind, current, you know, like, because when we went to California.
That's
for
one thing I
example,
couldn't understand.
Our
you know?
flight was a little longer going to California because of the headwinds.
Then it coming back.
Then the tailwinds, we got home a lot quicker, you know, so instead of.
So it wasn't
flight,
because the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles
it
an
had
hour.
nothing to do with any spinning or anything like that. And then, but wait, here's an example he gave to us. He said, oh, man, one time I went to this restaurant that was spinning, you know, slowly spinning, and I did not notice the spin.
That's something we talked about right there.
You know?
You went on the top of the building and they had a spinning restaurant
Which
on
I
the
think
top.
it was a trade, was it, wasn't that on top of the trade center they had?
It was somewhere else.
I'm sure they have a bunch of them in downtown.
This was like in San Francisco or something like that.
So, yeah.
But what happened was he couldn't tell that it was spinning.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Spinning, you say. The restaurant was spinning, you say.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Once in Texas, I was in a bar that was spinning too. And no, I'm not talking about being drunk spinning, I mean the bar. Well, now, the thing was spinning, let's all agree to that. But was it wobbling? Now, let's never fail to take into account that the earth is not only spinning, it's wobbling. Now, how do you describe being in a restaurant that's not only spinning, but wobbling? Now, what if I was in a bar in Texas? It's spinning too, but is it wobbling? You can stand up and walk right through a restaurant that's spinning, but can you do that to one that's wobbling? Let's just not forget to take that into consideration, that the earth is not only spinning, it's wobbling. Now have them, when they want to offer that description up to you in the future, have them explain that issue.
That's, great point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Never even thought about the wobble.
On the 23.5 axis, at that, it's wild.
They can't even estimate the wobble. They just say it's there.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you know, my brother-in-law got back from New Zealand. He loves going down. New Zealand people are awesome. He loves Australia. He loves New Zealand. I really think we could, if there's any, camaraderie, it's with Australian and New Zealanders that America has. They're very
yeah.
That's why I'm going in April, too.
And you're going there, they're going to have the conference.
Yeah, by the end of the summer, guys, Mark will be he will be the official in the New Zealand, because we're going down there on more than just a news program. We're going down there on sort of a PR trip. And everybody down there everybody in the country is going to love Mark and Shelley. You understand?
They love you too.
Yeah.
A lot of typecasts.
That's right. Everyone in the country is going to say, Flat Earth, Mark and Shelley. Flat Earth, Mark and Shelley.
Well, and I asked him, if he felt like he was upside down. He said, no, he did not get that. And the toilet thing is bull crap. That all depends on the plumbing and how it was plumbed.
Exactly.
Yes, it is.
They always tell you,
when you flush a toilet in New Zealand, they say it flushes the wrong way.
Right, but say that again.
Me. I think the Earth's a globe now.
Say that again, Craig.
The plumber decided if the Earth was a globe.
No, I'm saying that proves that
Let's hear Craig.
Right.
Let's hear Craig say the same thing. I don't think the people listening heard what Craig said. Say it again, Craig. It all depends on what? The plumbing.
The plumber?
The plumbing. The plumbing. The
It
plumber.
depends on the water direction.
That's right.
And it could be skewed. I don't want to say this, but say you had to go number 2, and you left a little piece on the side of the pot. That is going to affect that water movement. Believe it or not.
That's right. He's right. He's exactly right.
Look, it's the way that it comes out the friggin' toilet.
Yeah, it's a
toilet.
It has a lot of subtle.
It'll shoot the water which way. That's all it
If
is.
you went to Taco Bell, it's going right. If you went to,
It's going right.
but and so we talked about that, and he said at no time did he feel like he was upside down.
I'm sure.
So I just wanted to throw that.
Hey, you know what, guys?
That's one of those
Maybe we're the ones who are down under.
And I definitely think that a lot of people should listen that are Globers, hear this stuff. Because it really just,
We've been conditioned. We've been taught this since we were children. Look at what they're teaching children today. They're pushing space big time. Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about, like we were talking about the amateur balloonists are sending these balloons up, and they're going 150,000 miles up. And they're, with a regular eye camera, the horizon is flat.
That's the key.
150,000 feet.
Yes.
150,000 feet. And it's perfectly flat. How do you
Wait, here's another one though. he actually defended and brought up a fisheye camera that was shot. I forgot what it was that was showing, and it showed curvature. And he goes, "No, that's not real. That's fake. It's a fisheye lens." But I think it was an official NASA video that was showing this.
Right.
So he almost had to throw them under the bus to make his point right. It's
Right. We look. One thing we do have that me and Craig know is that NASA is like Disney World. They're showing all this stuff, and then they're faking a lot.
We got a picture of it. We got a picture. Mark has brought it to us. I'm going to put it up to the screen so you can see it. It shows the NASA perception of the Earth with the curvature, with the fisheye lens, and then the actual, what you'll see at altitude, because horizon rises with you. Horizon goes, if you're up, say you're on a tower in New Orleans, you're going to see a flat horizon. You go up 30,000 feet, you're going to see a flat horizon. Now, there's also in airplanes, Mark, if I'm not mistaken, they use curved glass in these airplanes. That glass.
They started doing that since 2011.
So
they're doing it more now. So
here's something else, guys. The eyeball is round.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to bring a question to these two ex-military guys. Y'all heard of the SR-71 Black?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
SR-71 is a spy plane. It goes 2,170 miles an hour. All right. What's that? Mark 7 or something? And it almost falls apart, going 2,190 miles an hour. It almost falling apart. Yet NASA space shuttle goes 25,000 miles an hour without a problem. You get what I'm saying?
Mark, it has to be.
It's a stealth.
Listen, Mark, the way that it has attached, the way that the outer skin has to be attached.
And while we're talking about that, I looked up and do your research. Look up the SpaceX. It's the most powerful rocket launched by Tesla, and it's got reusable rockets.
Right.
It'll shoot up. It'll shoot up straight, go into the atmosphere, and it launches these rockets back off, and it shoots them back down to Earth.
So it can land itself.
It lands itself.
Not be destroyed.
You've seen that?
Yes.
And it pops off, and there's a Tesla car on the friggin' video.
Yeah, it's all fake. I'm gonna finish my point about the SR-71.
And look, and you can follow this on whereistesla.com.
Right.
And or
Elon Musk is the guy who
did this.
Who's doing this.
Right.
Who also said that we're living in a matrix kind of thing. Right. He also said he thinks we're in a simulated reality.
You can ask your pilot friend of yours, when a plane's going 2,000 miles an hour, okay, it would have to dip its nose every 30 seconds for the curvature.
To fly right off the earth.
Fly into space.
Yes.
So it doesn't. The mechanism is a flat Earth horizon. All gyroscopes are flat Earth horizon.
The gyroscope, you ready for this one? He said that there were weights in that gyroscope that weighted it down so that it was always staying level on the curved plane. I don't know enough about gyroscopes to know.
Mechanical device, I do know that.
Craig,
and it seems like that might not really know exactly what he's talking about.
Hey guys,
we find it to
hey guys, can you hear me?
At least tell their pilots that. We simply don't know. We do know one thing, that even military jets, F-15s, all of them, use a flat Earth horizon. It's called a gyroscope.
Yeah.
Periscopes and submarines,
Right.
Everything is based on flat Earth. So if it's a globe Earth, maybe they'll start using the balls.
Yeah. No, you make a great point there.
Yeah.
And then we were also, what else were we talking about with that?
Hey, excuse me, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You again. You don't understand how what Mike was saying again does not figure in the wobble. Of course, what he's saying. Take a look at that fan behind you, real quick, on the ceiling.
Yes.
Attach a weight to that thing to where it can adjust for a wobble, and we'll go from there. You see, you're talking about a physical impossibility. If the room you are standing in right now was wobbling, let's see you pull it off.
you'd have 100 earthquakes a day in the world. The whole world would catch on fire if that was the case.
Yeah.
Well, you have earthquakes every 30 minutes.
Also,
You couldn't even stand up and walk.
Look at the simple compass. The compass works on a flat Earth. North, If we have this curvature, that compass is going to be wanting to bend itself. Right. Say you're at the equator with a compass. What is that compass freaking out? Like, oh my God, which way do I point? Right. We're trying to break the glass. Right. To come up to where the North Pole's supposed to be. And the South Pole's supposed to be.
But the big answer to this whole thing is why?
It's global.
Why are they?
And people don't believe that. They don't think, they're killing these folks that want to take over the world and power the world. Look at them. They're already out there.
A compass. Look, the H-2238 or whatever they called our military compass I had that we had on our side. We kept it all the time. That's on a flat Earth.
Correct. And you know what else? Rick and I talked about this a long time on one of Mark and Rick's show about Pangea and how that was all the continents were stuck together at one time and then broke apart. And that makes more sense on a flat Earth.
If you look at this Gleason map and look at it, you'll see what we're talking about. You can Google it. And you can look and take a look at it.
And Amazon has still not sent us the copy of that, which I also think is a conspiracy in itself. As well as
I have one. I would deliver to this house before your next show.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now
with Facebook.
With these, yes, Facebook is trying to close down some of these flat Earth sites. Why would they attempt that? Why would they even do that? Let's go back. Let's go again. Rick's telling me that they're getting ready to discontinue us on YouTube, our shows.
They want to stop it.
So why would they want to stop it? But if you believe, like Mark does, if you believe that there's a flat, what's wrong with his belief that he thinks it's flat? Nothing in the world.
Nothing wrong.
He can say his own thing.
But when you try to block something like that, that makes you wonder, well, what are they exactly doing? Why are they trying to stop this?
Right.
Well, even as you gotta remember, guys, they allow transgenderism, abortion, they allow all the sick, psychotic stuff that's going on in times of tribulation, which in Hebrew means trouble, times of trouble.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is this, if flat Earth was such a joke, why are they going overtime to try to ban it? But by the way, guys, it's backfiring on them big time.
Yes.
Flat Earth today is much more popular every single day because of that question. Why ban flat Earth videos? If it's such a joke, why would you ban it? They hide the truth.
But that's it. That's what I'm saying. What's it hurting?
It's not hurting.
When it's hurting that, nobody says any,
It brings down the school system, the universities, all the lies we were taught, the fear. It brings the whole system down.
See, that's why I'm
brings it all down
towards it, because it looks like it's. Why would they tell us they're going to knock it off Facebook? They're going to knock it off, and you can look it up yourself.
Are you about to go to a 4? Are you going from a 3 to a 4?
I'm just saying, this is a very important topic because
it's true.
Why would they ban what people are?
And anything is war against your thought. It's war against free thought.
This is. Let's face it. It's a research hobby. You're researching every day. Mark stopped. Well, he knows it all, so he still researches it.
In fact, whenever they try to ban, people are the one to gravitate to. Look,
that's right, Mark. None of us know it all. I heard Mark say that. That's right. He's right. None of us will ever know it all. We may just be a little bit more advanced, but that's the only case. None of us will ever know the whole truth. I mean,
what did you get with that rocket guy? He's only gotten up to 2,000 feet, but he's working on it.
Yeah,
and he's doing this on his own.
He's doing it.
Appreciate that.
And he's doing it to raise attention to the name.
But these conspiracy things, it's happening lately every day. Look what happened with the New Orleans Saints.
Yes.
2 weeks ago. You can fix a football game. I'm not telling you Drew Brees and the team was fixed in this game.
The refs were fixed.
Right. The NFL was controlling them.
It's hide in plain sight. Hide in plain sight, it's called. Now they're taunting you.
They're controlling the game, so they're controlling. There's nothing. These guys are playing their hearts out, trying to win this game, trying to get to the Super Bowl, but LA Rams have constructed a new stadium. They're moving. They need to get the popularity because there's no people going to their games. If you go watch the replay of some of their games this year that are home, the stadium's maybe half full, spread all over. So what are they doing? It's a conspiracy.
They're trying to raise the level of them, like, hey, let's go see them. They're doing so
Second
good.
biggest
Right.
market in the United States.
Yeah, it is. It's a big money thing.
And I'll tell you one thing, New Orleans,
And it's not fair.
New Orleans didn't watch that Super Bowl.
And let me tell you this. Who has control over it? The team doesn't. Sean Payton doesn't.
The elites.
The only people that do it are the elites, like we're talking about with what they're doing to the YouTube and the Facebook with the Flat Earth.
Which is funny, Roger Goodell, his father was like a senator, if I'm not mistaken. He was, this is a political man's son that is running the NFL right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, they brought
It's the same
politics
doing
into
here.
sport 2 years ago when they started kneeling for the national anthem. So the division in this country, the battle lines have already been drawn 2 years ago with the Kaepernick stuff.
Which media? I believe media, and look, I guess we're media right now. And I'm talking about the Main Street, NBC, ABC. They're pitting everybody against each other. They want us. They want us to battle us ourselves, so they can do whatever they want.
And all we want is the truth.
And that's it.
all we want. We want to...
And love thy fellow man, no matter what.
That's why they ban flat Earth groups, because they hate truth. They'll suppress it, hide.
Yeah.
What are they doing? What are they doing with the NFL? They don't care that the whole Louisiana is banning the football game.
No one in the New Orleans area watched the Super Bowl yesterday.
It was completely, everybody blocked it.
Except
They watched the Super Bowl that in 2009 where the Saints
or
won.
2010, was it 2010?
2009 season.
Yep.
But they don't want to watch it because it's
And we had crowds out there bigger than Mardi Gras of local folks. So no one came in from out of town. I mean, maybe a few people did. But most of the majority of the people that were down there on Fulton Street and all that stuff were New Orleans or the surrounding area.
Sure, packed, more than Mardi Gras.
More than Mardi Gras.
It's amazing. And look at this, Rick and everybody. The score of the game was 13-3.
The most
You
brutal
ready for this?
ever.
What's the Saints' record this year? 13-3.
Ooh, you just made a little connection there.
Is that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. These conspiracies, dude, they're just it's too much.
Yep.
So the NFL's controlling the teams.
Yep.
But the elites are controlling them.
Yep.
That's it. Who you want to win? Who you want to win?
It doesn't matter. You know, that's what's making it not enjoyable. Because they can control it by saying they can throw one penalty flag and control the game. You can control the score of that team, and you can control the whole game. It's who knows who's going to win.
And in school, you remember back when we were in school, they wanted us to question everything. Now they don't push that. They don't want you questioning stuff.
They want you to believe everything.
They want you to believe what they say. They want you to question nothing.
Right?
And it's crazy.
Brainwashing.
It really is. And I'm going to write a children's book about the flat earth. Because that's where you got to start. That's where you got to start. You got to start with the kids. That's how they start.
That's it.
You know? Think about kids. They're sponges. My little nieces and nephews, because they had the Spanish nanny who watched them and she taught them Spanish. It was so easy for them to learn at that young age.
My daughter with her book.
Yes.
Go fork yourself.
Yes. Or go the fork to sleep.
Yeah. Go fork and turn your light off.
That's true.
Yeah. So, look, guys, we're going to hold for Flat Earth Radio Live commercial break
On the Flat Earth Media Group.
And, thanks for joining us for Hunting the Flat Earth, and we'll break.
And I'm not sure.
Yep, we're going to commercial. Hang on.
Then you can put your phone on.
How are you, Rick?
How are you? I'm doing great, guys. Thanks a lot. As soon as I get this commercial up.
You.
Hang in there, all right? Thanks for joining us, Jones.
No worries. Well, we were waiting for you while you were in the hospital, bud.
I know you were, guys. Thanks. Thanks a lot. We're going to switch to a commercial break. Hang in there. All right. Be back in 10. Oh, man. I can't believe I did that. Hey, Bart. We're supposed to be at a commercial break, and I didn't do it.
Are you the dork?
It's me. I'm the dork. Okay, here we go. It's me. This is another Flat Earth News Brief, and I'm your host, Rick Lowtech. This story from May 11th, 2018. Australia's first Flat Earth Convention was supposed to end with a bang. The convention flyer was privatized, and the ocean level world level experiment on record scale. Laser beams. This is another Flat Earth News Brief, and I'm your host, Rick Lowtech. This story from May 11th, 2018. First conducted the experiment with surveying equipment in 1838. He used the results to declare that the Earth was flat, and in 1870, in response to a wager, biologist Alfred Russel Wallace repeated the test. Adjusting for the effects of atmospheric refraction for his troubles, Wallace won $500 and a lifetime of death threats and from the people who claimed he cheated. Google Maps now zooms out to a round Earth. Click on the new globe mode, zoom out, and the Earth will morph into a globe. Such a creative name as globe mode. It's designed to address a problem with often used flat projections, and also, in our opinion, to kind of quell all the fuss about everybody talking about the fact that the Google Earth zooms out into a flat Earth. Also known as a Mercator projection, the renderings don't accurately portray the areas of regions that are far away from the equator, and that was the excuse for why they always zoomed out into a flat Earth. For example, Greenland appears to be about the same size as Africa, even though it's actually much smaller than the content. In a tweet, Google said globe that problem. With 3D globe mode on Google Maps desktop, Greenland's projection is no longer the size of Africa. The Google Maps team tweeted on Friday, just zoom all the way out. Globe mode is available only on desktop and, like Google Earth, is part of the company's efforts to bring more accurate representations of the world to its users, and as we said, to cover up a couple of mistakes that they made about the Flat Earth maps. Flat Earthers, many of whom believe our planet is encircled by a wall of ice and that gravity doesn't exist, won't really have a problem with this new Google map because we already know what's real. From a Flat Earth point of view, this is a change from one in projection, and that's no doubt. The social media Google Maps is always trying to deliver, as they say, what customers want to receive. Most people firmly believe that the Earth is a globe, but that doesn't deter us one bit. Flat Earthers can discuss this use at their leisure if they can't get their convention organized according to Google Maps. For more Flat Earth news, join us right here on Flat Earth Radio. I'm your host, Rick Lowtech. Thanks for listening.
Listen on. You are not on a spinning ball coming through a vast emptiness called space, only people of the planet. The Earth is flat. Keep it real and keep it live on FERLive.com. The flat Earth related. Musical talk integrated. Never overrated Flat Earth Internet radio station. Coming to you from sunny San Diego, California, USA. This is where you wanna be, man, with hope. The ferret. The ferret. The ferret.
Listen when your body says, I have to go to the bathroom more often and more urgently than usual. These can be signs of a gynecologic cancer, like cervical, ovarian, uterine, vaginal, and vulvar cancers. Symptoms aren't the same for everyone. If your body says something may be wrong, please listen. And if it goes on for 2 or more weeks, see a doctor. It may be nothing, but find out for sure. Learn the symptoms and get the inside knowledge about gynecologic cancers. Call 1-800-CDC-INFO.
Mosquitoes will bite day and night, so protect yourself with these tips. Keep mosquitoes outside by shutting doors and covering windows with screens. EPA-approved insect repellents anytime you're outdoors. Cover your skin with long sleeves and pants. Mosquitoes lay their eggs in water. Just a bottle cap of water is all they need. So drain, refresh, or cover anything around buildings that can hold water, at least week-side items that aren't being used. A message from Santa Clara County Public Health Department.
My first guest tonight is the beloved astrophysicist, author, and director of the Hayden Planetarium at the American Museum of Natural History. Please welcome my friend, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
The stars?
None of the above. So the math says there should be more there, but we can't see it. Right, so it's actually missing gravity rather than missing mass. I mean, sorry, no, it's gravity with no known source. Which is what I said. I like to think it's dark gravity. It's dark gravity. It's really dark gravity. Wow. Really what it is. There's some mysterious pressure in the vacuum of space, which we call dark energy, but we should just call those Fred and Wilma. I joke about this, because we don't know what they are. So wait, don't give it a name that makes you think we know what it is, because we don't actually know what it is, but it's there. We measure it. A mysterious pressure in the vacuum of space that is forcing the universe to accelerate in its expansion. And I've written about this because I lose sleep over this fact. And all the galaxies are the source of our knowledge of cosmology, of the Big Bang. Everything we know about the history of the universe comes to us from these galaxies. If they accelerate beyond our horizon, the next generation of cosmic explorers will only have the stars of the Milky Way to think about. And there would have been an entire chapter
a good place to sort of bring in all the pagan worshippers who are already celebrating that time of year.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
2-1. Okay, so
we don't understand the origin of 85% of all the gravity of the universe. It's not black holes, comets, stars, planets. It's none of the above.
So the math says there should be more than...
Yes, it's the Big Bang itself, using Einstein's having accelerated so significantly that all the galaxies of the night sky will have accelerated beyond our horizon.
Okay,
The Big Bang. Everything we know about the history of the universe comes to us, and from these
there would have been an entire explorers will only have the stars of the Milky Way to think about.
Shut up, asshole.
So
Awakening to reality and purpose is the solemn duty and joy of each significant soul. Join us, Zealand Expo, to see mysteries unraveled and learn a truthful perspective about our world that you may have never considered before. Unearthed in a creative and condensed way. Flat Earth Expo at Aotearoa, New Zealand. Hosted in Auckland to showcase a flat Earth and other related topics, such as the Antarctic Circle and lands beyond, NASA, the Matrix Control, vaccinations and chemtrails, political globalism and the New World Order, fake news and false education, astronomy untouched, weather model hoaxes, financial systems, what are UFOs and aliens, biblical cosmology, and much more. Broaden your horizon. On Saturday, join an open educational public seminar with 4 international lecturers. You will enjoy a quality crash course in flat earth knowledge, several categories of research as well as touching on other connected fields of study. This quick Q&A session includes an attendant package. It truly is a marvel to behold while awakening the common senses. The 2019 Flat Earth New Zealand Expo promises to be a feast of fits, products, souvenirs and artwork displayed throughout both days. So don't miss it. Our contact information. You can call us at 021-0289-3402 or email us at admin@fenzexpo.co.nz or write to us at PO Box 51010, Pakuranga, Auckland, New Zealand 2010. Flat Earth is common sense.
And now from the Flat Earth capital, Flat Earth Radio Live is proud to present
Dude, I love the Bigfoot. And I know Mark does not believe in the Bigfoot, but I believe in the Bigfoot. You do believe in the Bigfoot. That's a big conspiracy. You know, they have a video out there on YouTube. I believe you can look it up. It was a Bigfoot sighting in Tunica, Mississippi, which Tunica is not far from us. No. It's a big casino town. Right. And it was a hog hunter that was out there hunting, and he came across what looked like a ape-like creature tearing apart an old rotten tree looking for grubs and worms to eat. Right. And the strength of this thing was not human. I mean, he's ripping off pieces of this tree.
Exact same spot where the deer was. There was nothing but fresh white bones where the deer was. No, it wasn't even a deer. It was one of those big mountain rams. I got on my CB radio and I said, "Hey, did you guys see that?" And the other truck driver said, "Oh yeah, the Bigfoot. We see that all the time up here. Strip those bones cleaned, right there on the side of the freeway." Okay, so yeah, Bigfoot is real, and anyone who's ever been to Seattle knows.
That's awesome. That's crazy. I said that because I wasn't sure how a lot in the community thought about Bigfoot, but just because there's so much phony stuff with the real stuff. But I truly believe it's real. And they're bigger in the Seattle, Washington area than they are down here. Down here we call them a skunk ape because they have a very, musky smell, but they're smaller. Right. Just like...
and Craig had on a deer camera last year. He was looking at hogs and different animals on his deer lease, and they had some 7-foot guy walking around, and I'm like, Craig, that's Bigfoot right there. No, it's not just somebody walking in the woods. I said, dude, this guy is 7 foot. I mean, he's huge, and he's just walking in the middle of the food plot. And there's nobody that lives around this area, or it's got no posted hunting signs. It's not just some guy walking through there.
And here's another, let me tell you another interesting fact.
That's what I thought. I was like, man, this shit might be real.
Well, they got a town, I'm not sure if it's in Canada or wherever, but it's illegal to shoot or law about that if it was some phony thing, you know? And then some people say, oh, they wanted to drum up tourism in the area or whatever.
Yeah.
But let me tell you a lie that we were always told. 20 years ago, I would hunt in Poplarville, Mississippi, and there was always sightings of these large black cats. You're talking the size of a cougar or a jaguar. Well, it turns out it was a Mexican jaguar. But Wildlife and Fisheries in both states denied its existence. Was like, oh, we find so many bears on the side of the road hit by a vehicle, and so many, we've never found a large cat. Right, that cat is too cunning to get hit by a car, and fast. They're talking about a smart creature there. And, but then now, it is known that they exist, and we get them on game all the time now. Right. It's a black cat, but you can see the leopard or the jaguar print in its skin.
And Wildlife is denying that they exist.
Well, now they've come aboard. Now they're, a bunch of crap. And
see, that's another conspiracy right there. Just like we're talking about,
Let me bring up the story of Pawpaw. My mother, my lovely mother, love you, Mom, love you, Dad, know you're listening. Also love you, Maria. I know she's listening.
Rosie, Craig used to
supervisor. And her father, Julian, had a house over here in Mandeville where we live now. But we lived in the city at that time. And so I would come over with him on the weekends and spend the night at the camp, because it was basically a camp. It was all woods around here. There were literally bears on 2 streets away. You could go see a black bear.
Back then.
And so I'd get scared and I'd be like, Papa, I want to go home. And this was always at nighttime, we were like about to go to bed. And he'd say, oh no, baby, the causeway's closed. So I believed this until 17 years of age, because you remember we were going to come out, we were going to go party.
No, we can't go.
And you're like, dude, let's go to Mandeville, we're going to hook up with these girls, it'll be great. And I was like, no, we can't go, Randy, the causeway's closed. And everybody thought I was an idiot. And they were like, are you kidding me? And I'm like,
he always thought the causeway was closed.
What my grandfather told me. Why would he lie to me?
Just
like, he lied to me because he didn't want to get out of bed.
Did he work for NASA?
He did not work for NASA, which is ironic. He should have. We want to thank Mark Steven Hollander for being here with us for the first half of the show. He's got to bust out right now.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks, Mark, Mark, and all. And love you guys.
Mark, right here, Mark Hollander. This is Tim here.
Yes, guys. God bless.
Love you.
All right, Marty, guys.
He can't be going home too.
Look, and just check out the book, and you can pick it up on Amazon.
Yes.
I want to say it's.
You can even get a cheap version for your Amazon Kindle if you have the little Kindle. Yeah, it's you can get it downloaded right onto there.
Just so you can see how fascinating the we're not asking you to believe, because look at us, we're Globers right now talking about
back and forth.
flat Earth, and but it's something good that you can definitely read it and definitely take it in and see where it goes in your life. But
and I want to give a shout out to Wes Blaze, man. The Blaze, he's got his little show on Saturday nights. Please tune in. This guy is awesome. I tuned in Saturday. I didn't once. Man, for one, his biblical knowledge is wonderful, man. And awesome guy. It wasn't what I expected when I listened to it. And I listened to it and I was blown away. And I really I love the guy.
He's a flat earther?
He is a flat earther, but he backs a lot of his stuff up with scripture. And I like that.
Yeah.
And we were even looking at one today. It was in Psalms and it was talking about let's talk about the biggest. Guess who headed up NASA? He was like pretty much the starting force of NASA. He was a Nazi scientist. You ever heard? You remember the Nazi scientist von Braun? We got him from. He was with Germany. He was with Germany, and he did a lot of bad things with Germany. But then once he came with us, it was like all forgotten. Right. And he was also really good friends with Walt Disney. And you go to Disneyland and look, Space Mountain. Yeah. They push a lot of this.
Sure.
And I found that really interesting.
Dude, that's how
all these people are connected.
It's kind of strange. It's kind of strange. And, just like we were talking about earlier, they're they're going to cut the flat earthers out of Facebook and out of...
it's just going to hurt. It's going to hurt them.
Why would they cut them out, Craig? Why would they cut out YouTube videos? Just like we were talking about earlier, because it's a threat. It's got to be a threat.
Yes, if too many people start, looking into this stuff and asking questions, that's going to cause problems.
Sure. I don't know what's going to happen to the radio show. They could cut us totally out.
We could cut up. We're going to make our new.
I'm sure Rick will find some friggin' type of loophole.
Rick is going to come up with his own YouTube.
Right.
Sure. There's other sources, from what I understand.
Yeah, there is.
There is other platforms that you can go on and look at video.
But it's just strange that they would do this type of stuff.
And they can't touch the radio station. They can't touch us on the radio. That is one good thing.
Right.
So, even if they take you off of YouTube.
And FERLive this is not just a Louisiana show. I mean, it's worldwide. It's a worldwide show. So people are listening to us in Japan and Australia. Last week we had all these hits from people from all over the world. That they're tuning in.
Germany.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it. They're out there.
But, that's just, it's a crazy thing that this just happened this week with the YouTube and, and Facebook.
It's funny what they try to silence, though. Facebook is another big one as well, And from what I understand, we're huge in Germany. They keep us on 24 hours a day.
Right.
So that's awesome.
It's just that
we're sorry to talk about your former scientist that y'all had, but he was a bad dude.
And then we picked him up.
And then we got him, and now we're bad dudes.
Right.
But that's the whole thing. I mean, and it's just, you're fed these different things to push different ways they want you to go, Think about the countries that we may have invaded that really wasn't a threat, but we've made them more of a threat now that we've gone in and blown up their peoples and all that stuff.
If you could just search the beginning part of it and search the NASA hoax on YouTube and watch those videos, it'll get you deep into this.
It really does.
It makes you go, really? Why?
Yes.
And that's my biggest thing is, why?
Wait, here's another thing. They're doing all these experiments in space. They're always talking about, we did these experiments. They never tell us what the experiments are. Or they may give us a little bit. But don't you think after 20 years of experiments, or maybe longer, we've run out of experiments? I mean, how much more can you experiment on? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For as much as they want us to believe that we've been up to space.
I know they've been into the
inner space. Maybe we're in that inner
That's
realm.
where they're not going to them. I don't believe they're going that far to the moon.
Yes.
Okay. Which, if you look at
or the satellite, what about the space station? How did I see the space station with my naked eye? In the sky.
You wouldn't be able to see it. It's higher. What it is basically, my guess is that it's 20,000 feet higher than or 10,000 feet higher than where the planes travel.
It could be.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not deep into space.
Exactly. And I don't know the exact measurements of this so-called station that they have.
Yeah.
But when planes are at altitude, they're hard to see. You may catch a little speck.
Now, look,
and this is supposed to be so much higher.
And I tell you this, if you just look every night and look at the stars, you always go out and say, okay, well, there's the North Star up here.
Polaris.
There's the Big Dipper, there's the Little Dipper. You got to be kind of in the country to see it. In the big cities, you can hardly see them. But what really makes this whole thing strange to me is that they're in the same spot every night.
Every night.
Does that blow your mind?
Yes.
I mean, if you were on a spinning Earth,
exactly,
you wouldn't be able to see that right here this night or this night.
Yes.
They're in the same spot all night long.
Even 6 months from now, the same spot. We're supposedly on the other side of the sun. We're on this rotation around the sun.
Right. And we have friends listening tonight, and
they think we're crazy.
They do. and they're enjoying the show. But one shout out to them is, you want to it gets confusing. Go look at the satellite dishes, DirecTV dishes that are on every house, and look which way they're pointing. They're always pointing in the same direction.
Correct.
If you had a satellite up there, bouncing it off the satellite, okay?
First you'd be up more, and that satellite you would have to constantly...
Ours is monitoring the side of the house.
It would constantly have to move, because these satellites are moving.
Right.
Supposedly.
Right.
Is what we're told.
So that's the basis of our first confusion.
But then we did have a friend who goes, "Oh no, y'all are idiots. The satellites are sending signals to the towers, and then the towers are transmitting that signal."
Well, to ask him to explain...
I believe what he says. The towers are transmitting that signal.
Sure.
It's not a satellite.
Ask him about the stars and see what he says.
Exactly. Yeah, no.
How do you...
Well, I think we did ask him, and he said, "Oh, they got me on that one." That was our buddy Adam.
Right.
And
because the stars are in the same spot every night.
Same spot.
360. If you look at it tonight, you look at it next Thanksgiving, they're going to be in the same spot.
Speaking of satellites, tell him about what we saw the other day. He's been around town. Our buddy Glenn Hood saw him today in his neighborhood. We try to get him to moon.
Google Earth,
the Google truck.
And we told that guy Glenn Hood the moon.
Yes.
Well, he's right outside.
He's right outside. Mooning, Glenn. And he didn't want to because he knows that'll be on their official record forever. When we saw him the other day, we waved. We were in the green Jeep.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to check that and see if we get.
See if we're on there. Yeah.
On there.
But I mean, that's how they're doing this.
Yeah.
They have, and I can't explain how they're getting the satellite image. But
Planes.
I think it's planes or drones or some sort taking different pictures.
Mapping it out. Because I have
it's not Google satellite.
Yeah. It's not just Google. Like I have an app that's an app for deer hunting, and it shows me a supposed satellite photo of my hunting property, but it's only taken maybe once a year. Yeah. It's not updated more often. So like I'll go back and I'll look and I'll go, "Oh, well, I didn't have that shed there at this time."
Mine was like 6 ago. If you look at the picture from Google. Yeah, it was like 6-7 years ago.
Was it really that?
Yeah.
Gosh.
So they took the same picture, they didn't update it.
Yes.
Maybe the street things they're doing right now.
No, the street is more accurate.
But if you look at the one that's on top of my house and you go down to it,
it's only that long ago.
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't have. It's a gravel driveway, so I had that probably 7-8 years ago.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, it's a old picture.
Because they just showed ours. Ours is only like a year behind.
Okay, that's good.
I would say. So it was from, the one that shows right now was from the previous winter. And, but it's great. I can see the goats in the yard. And yeah, they got the goats and they got all the different stuff. But I knew when it was taken by what was in my yard.
So, look, guys, don't get blown away with all this and don't go grab a bottle of Fireball and start downing it because you're freaking confused. Yes. It's not that bad. Take your time with this.
Don't take the whole bottle of pills.
You're right. Look,
walk away from the bridge.
It's just something. Just do your own research, and it's going to help you get into where we're at and just kind of learning about it. Because like Craig's dad said, I don't care if this sucker is flat or round. It don't matter to me. And my dad said the same thing. But it's good to look into it.
Yes.
And see what's really going on in the world. We don't know.
Well, and here's another thing. Basically what you're taught. So that's what when they say a person is smart. Well, that's a really smart person. Well, yes. They have gone through and they've learned everything that they've been taught. So what if you were taught wrong? Are you still smart?
He's a dumbass.
No. You can't say that.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Well, my sister is one of the smartest people I know.
Right,
She's
mine
the smartest
too.
member in the family. Your sister as well.
Yep.
But they've all been taught by man. And what they want,
My sister said the same thing. She thinks me and you are crazy.
But listen, here's why we're not. Yeah. We might be smarter than them. Because we, for one, didn't pay attention in school, so we didn't know that was taught to us.
Right.
So we're clean, in a sense. We have a little bit of dirtiness because they did get some of their stuff in us,
right?
But not all of it,
Right.
And so you actually, Mom, Dad, I might be the smartest child that you had. I just want to throw that out there. And sure listen. And, but that's right. You got to. It takes different people.
They're studying science to the T.
Yep.
Years of physics, years of trigonometry, years of
yes.
And going to college doing this, Craig. We didn't step foot in that.
We did go into college for about a semester.
We did.
I went back.
No, it was great. It was
good, but we really we were in the low levels.
I mean, we didn't have that. Our GPA wasn't as high as most. But what we are now is we're researching this stuff.
Yes. You know what's funny? I think I still owe Southeastern some money. Do you? Which proves that I went to school there. Which is kind of cool. So I'm just never going to pay it.
Right.
So if everybody goes, yeah, you were never educated. Oh, well, you go check with Southeastern.
Yeah, they'll tell you owe them $289.
I think it's like $289. I think that's exactly what it was.
Right.
For some book fees that I didn't pay.
Right.
But but we were there. We were there.
So it's this is not this is something you have to look into.
Can we get back on Sasquatch? I
want to go. We were talking about this.
You are all about that, aren't you?
That NFL.
You're pissed about the NFL.
I really am, because I think it's a total conspiracy, and I think it's just like what's going on. When I heard Rick sends me this thing about YouTube, I was all friggin' blown up. That they're going to shut off Flat Earth off of YouTube. Why would they do it? They're going to do it just like the NFL's. Why are they not throwing the flag? You got three refs looking at each other.
I know.
And they're doing it on purpose. They're controlling us, and so we're controlled in everyday life.
Yes.
So no matter what we do, we're being controlled.
Which I never thought possible in the United States of America.
No.
Never thought it possible.
It's in the communist Russia or
freedom. We're always brought up on this freedom. You're free to do whatever. But now we're getting more restrictions.
Yeah.
Like it's like the plan,
So so last week I wanted to say this about last week. Me and Craig are still in space. So last week was the anniversary of the Challenger space shuttle
disaster.
Yep.
And I remember I was either in 6th or 7th grade at St. George's Episcopal School, which was in uptown New Orleans.
Right.
And
I was in Lakeview.
I was in the library, and our headmaster came into the library and said that the space shuttle just blew up. So we all ran to the next room where they had a television, turned it on, and we watched as it blew up.
Right. Now, just so everybody knows what they're saying, with the Flat Earth, they're believing that the space shuttle, if you go re-look at the video, if you re-look at the crash, the explosion the space shuttle didn't go straight up like the rocket ship does. It veers off.
It does veer off to the side, correct.
And the fuel tank of the space shuttle had an issue in it. And that's how
O-ring. It was an O-ring failure. It was a cold morning that morning in Florida.
They had ice and stuff on them.
And they blamed the O-ring shrinking and causing fuel to leak out, which was ignited.
So they basically launched from Florida, got out over the ocean, okay?
Yes.
And
blew up.
Like people have said, Randy, there's a ton of stuff in the ocean from planes and all this fake NASA stuff that's going in there. So it kind of sparks your mind when you think about what they're talking about. So the space shuttle goes up and it explodes, and they're saying there was nobody ever in it.
And they have
nobody was inside the space shuttle.
Wait, let me tell you, they got a lot of stuff out there on this too, on YouTube. I don't know why they're not hiding that, but there are at least 6 of the 7 astronauts are still alive today, is what they're saying. Whether they are a twin, that's a big thing with NASA. NASA loves twins. And that makes sense, because if something bad happens, you can always have one of the twins still, or this twin could be that twin, this twin could be that twin. You still got a person there to be, So there was one. who is still alive. And this was never mentioned to us back then, or even during that time. This is maybe, I'm going back maybe 15 years when they were, talking about this.
Right.
We never knew about this Uncle Carl, who was supposedly the brother of the astronaut that was lost on that thing.
Crazy.
And then, like Mark said, Mark got in contact with one of them on the phone.
He worked at the
professor at a university.
He worked at the University of Wisconsin,
And he called him, and the guy hung up on him.
Yep. Not saying no, you got the wrong person.
I would also hang up on Mark Holland.
Just kidding, Mark. Yeah, but it just a lot of this.
It's a lot of weird stuff, man.
It is. So.
And what do you do? What do you do when that happens? And then even if you go back, let's go back to the moonlings and the after interviews that they had with the astronauts, and they were asking about, well, do you recall seeing stars when you were on the moon? And none of them recall. They're like, I actually don't recall seeing any stars, because they didn't have that in the video, for one. There was no stars. There was no stars, but it's if they had put stars in there, how are they going to get it right? Somebody was going to call them on that in the astronomy community. So that was almost like a
how can you not see stars on a friggin' moon? I mean, how dark it is.
But then a lot of these guys went into seclusion. Neil Armstrong, I don't think, talked to people for a long time. You think he felt horrible about it? I think he felt guilty about the lies. I really did. And we realized, we were in the race for, military.
That's what I think.
Power.
I think that's what it was all about. It's the Russian against the United States. Who's got the strongest power? Because we're about to go to a Cold War and go to war with these guys and shoot.
Yes.
We got the power. We can go to the moon.
And even, look, the Chinese just sent an unmanned craft to the dark side of the moon.
Okay. Why wouldn't they send them to the normal side of the moon?
Exactly. Because and what Mark says, then everybody could check. You could look up even those P1000 Nikon cameras. They can see. It's a times 125 zoom.
I didn't realize this.
By the way, I almost won a telescope today on Amazon. You know how they have the little box?
Yeah.
You hit the box, but it always says, you didn't win. But it was just like a $75 telescope that had 175s, and I was like, oh, please,
so I can see this
one
stuff.
thing I want. Usually it's a crochet kit or whatever they're giving away. I'm like,
we're gonna make some money this month, and we're gonna go get us a P1000 so we can do our own research.
Well, we may just get the $75 telescope.
All right.
I don't know if we're gonna get the $2,000 camera.
Yeah. Is it that much?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
But I was talking to my brother-in-law about it.
He said that moon on that sucker.
It's beautiful. And you could see that, supposedly, if they were on the light side of the moon, you should be able to see that.
But that's why they said they went to the dark side.
To the dark side.
So, 50 years, goes by, or 40, basically 40 years goes by, and nobody's been on the moon since.
Nobody's been there since.
Come on. With the technology we got,
That's it.
we would have GoPro cameras, so where you can see these ships go,
Yes.
That's the whole thing.
We got amateur balloon guys sending balloons up 150,000 feet with cameras showing a flat horizon.
We should have condos on the moon by now.
We should have. We should be manufacturing or doing experiments like they were doing. We're going to space to do experiments.
Right. So, and that's the big thing here. When you realize
the lies you've been told.
Right. You realize it. That was the whole big thing with me, is I was just thinking to myself, when Mark started talking to me about this, I never realized anything, but I did realize this when it hit me in the back of the head, and it says, what the hell? We haven't been up in 40 years?
Yes. Yeah.
Why would we not been up in 40? We should be up there all the time.
But that's another thing. When I first heard from Mark that he thought the earth was flat, I was like, dude, what the heck is going wrong with this guy?
He's got some screws loose.
Yeah. I mean, that's your first reaction,
Mine too.
You're like, I want to punch this guy.
But we wasn't like that. We kind of draw to those people.
I know, we do kind of go to the freakier side. Yeah, he's always bringing home a wounded pigeon for us to play with. That is true. He wanted to pick up hitchhikers the other day.
Get out of here.
You really did. You saw them. They were dirty and they were smelly. And yes, we should have stopped and picked them up. Maybe.
Throw them in the back of the truck and get them.
They could have killed us in Rick.
Right.
We don't know.
But you know, so we thought the same thing about Mark.
Yes.
But then all of a sudden, we started digging into this.
Digging into all the evidence.
I mean, is he freaking right about
And some
this?
evidence is good, some evidence is bad, you know? They had a guy posted something about submarines, and it just didn't make sense, you know?
When they say a submarine cannot travel on a round ball.
On a round ball, yes. You know, but then you got different, think about it, you got different grades in the ocean, you know? The Marianas Trench is one of the deepest spots in the ocean.
Yeah.
You know, so he was going off of a flat plane, you know, it just didn't make sense. I mean, there's good arguments, there's bad arguments. Right. That's what we gotta sift through. Like going through those proofs, you know, and see what can be debunked and what can't be debunked.
And we're going to do believe me, we're going to do some more research this week and try to get Rick off the radio for a second so we could ask him some more questions.
Yes.
We do like talking to Rick. Rick does bring a lot of knowledge into this.
And really a big thank you to Rick too, because he does so much for this radio station.
Oh, man.
For the YouTube. I mean, the guy works his behind off. And
doing all of
it
it.
shows, man. He does awesome work, man. So we love
Rick is the ferret.
He is the ferret.
He is the ferret.
You should get a ferret tattoo. We all should go get tattoos. I should have my face about it. They don't like tattoos.
Let's go get tattoos.
Bad idea, son.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know, and it's not just there, man. Let's go back in history. The whole Kennedy assassination is that's a real big thing.
We haven't even talked about that yet.
No, my parents live there. They live in Dallas. I went to the museum and everything. And even when I was there, I was like, how did this one guy, you know, Lee Harvey Oswald, right, with the Mannlicher rifle that he had, this rifle is, I mean, if you ever see this rifle and try to cycle this rifle as quick as those shots came, it's impossible.
Right, and he was a Marine.
He was a good shot. And that's why you remember in Full Metal Jacket, they give him a shout out because he was a Marine. That's why he was able to do it. Baloney, man. That gun,
It
can't do it.
It's physically impossible.
It's impossible.
So there was another.
Yes, and they had like the bums that they picked up that were behind the grassy knoll.
If you think about this whole concept with shooting Kennedy, why? Because he
did a speech before that. You remember he talked about secret societies.
Like
how should we, but not like that. We're not secret. We're out there.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the secret groups that control the world, the big banking groups. Like those, yes, Charles,
So that's what a lot of,
it really is, man.
this could all tie into that.
Yep, and he was, you know, he didn't want to go, it's almost like that new talk of deep
Look, I believe that the planes crashed into me personally.
Yeah, there were planes, but here's another thing about that. These were all Saudi Arabians on these planes at the World Trade Center. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, I thought that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, I was, but I'm just thinking about
But they were all Saudi. Think about who was in bed with Saudi. The United States was in bed with Saudi.
Of course. We liberated.
The whole reason Osama bin Laden was mad at us was because we brought troops into Saudi Arabia to protect them. Right. Because, you know, he thought Muslims should be protecting Muslims, not these Americans coming in, you know? Or that's the story we have been told. You know?
True.
So, who knows?
I mean, it's a conspiracy kind of world.
That's it. You make enemies, man. That's why I think the alien thing is going to be the next big thing. They're going to do some kind of fake alien crowd. Make us believe that aliens have come to the planet, they want to harm us, and then all the nations will get together and have one leader.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But people are too smart. They're not going to let that happen. I don't see them letting it happen.
Something new is coming around. There's something new.
There's a new agenda that they're going to push.
We're hitting new things every. With the NFL last week, that's another new one.
Well, you really are bothered by that.
I just think that it's a total conspiracy, and it's looking like all of these other things, just in a smaller form, but it's not. They can control the game. Yep. Do you want to watch it anymore?
Do you know?
Let me answer that.
I don't. I really didn't watch till the last 2 games.
Let me tell you.
Once I saw that bull crap, I was like, I'm done.
It's over.
I'm done.
It's going to be. I think it's going to.
And I was pissed off because I wanted to go hunting that day, and everyone was like, "Oh no, man, let's go watch the Saints game. We're going to go to the Super Bowl."
Right. That same good feeling. That same good feeling we had back in 2009.
Yes.
And they're pulling it from us because it's a conspiracy. You know it is.
Yep.
You know, it's not the refs. It's the refs, the people that, it's the,
it could be Vegas,
it's the NFL, buddy. It's the NFL. They're
all the sports betting that's now, you can go right here and you can bet sport betting right here in Louisiana. You can do it in Mississippi. I think there's like 5 states now that you can do that, whereas before it was just Vegas.
They control everything. Just like they controlled the NFL, they just control, like me and you went to the Hard Rock Casino. Every time I walk down, I lose. I never had a chance.
You never did have a chance.
So I never had a chance from the beginning.
You're right.
So next time I go, I'm just going to hit the little pool thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
And I do have a photo of my parents just spending my inheritance at the casino when we were up there. They were the Gold Nugget. They're sitting side by side, feeding the machines.
You should have said, Mom, can we just go to Bruce Chris one more time before you go?
Yes.
I know we ate on Christmas Day, but let's go again.
Yes, let's go again. Don't feed that machine, but actually, they do good. Because he did go into the Hard Rock Casino and won all the money back to pay for the meal that we had just had at
Perfect. Yeah.
So, or at least that's what he said. I don't know. It could be a conspiracy too. Sounded good to me, and I felt less guilty about it.
But, you know, it's just a way that, you know, and you gotta look, you know, we need to look more into it this week. We'll get some time where we can,
but we want to cover everything. We're going to have Lance Capel's going to come on. He really wants to talk about these chemtrails. And we have trails and the chemtrails. And I even have a buddy, Paul, who also, he's affected by this. He swears by that he gets headaches on these days, and he goes outside, and he'll look in the sky, and he sees tons of trails in the sky, and they don't just, like a contrail, which is a condensation trail, it's different. It would go away. It would dissipate, go away. These are staying all day long, man. Right here in Louisiana. And they say it's like an aluminum.
Because I've looked them up, and
well, cloud seeding. We know cloud seeding is real. They do seed these clouds to make weather, because they do it over in Dubai or no, it's the United Arab Emirates.
So what do you think? They're pumping out the flu?
But that's another one. The flu shot. I'm not getting a flu shot.
Well, I'll tell you this.
You're getting a flu shot?
Never did this year.
I'm not doing it ever any year.
Let me tell you what I think.
Why are they pushing this shot on us? Why do they care if a bunch of people get the flu? Really?
What happened in the...
Why do I think this government, our government, cares about that so much? You know, we're stupid to believe that.
That they want us to go get the flu shot.
Yes, they're worried about our health and safety.
You know, it makes sense. You know, it does. It makes sense. We were kids. There was all parents, 7 or 8 shots. If parents are listening that are, you know, that have kids in their 40s, listen to this. What was the biggest thing that we had to go get vaccinated for? The measles,
polio. You remember there was a polio one as well.
Right.
It was a big round one. It was so cool.
It had the 3 prongs.
That was a tuberculosis test.
Yeah, TB test.
This had it looked almost like a bullet casing, like the end of a bullet with a shot, and it was the coolest scar. But we didn't get it. Our age was a little younger than the older kids who
Right, yeah.
Which is stupid to think. Why do they want a scar?
The chicken
pox.
Remember the chicken pox? You don't hear about that.
Well, I think you still do have chicken.
You hear a lot about shingles lately.
Yes, there's a lot of shingles popping.
And that comes from the chicken pox.
7 or 8 injections that we got when we were younger. Now it's close to 26 to maybe over 30. You know, so what's up with this? What's in these? And you know, pharmaceutical is a big business, man. That's big money. Yeah, that's like that's why I'm saying this is
getting to be kind of a conspiracy world.
I'm not saying all doctors are bad. We know your sister's a good one.
Yeah.
But that happens. That happened out there, and that's Houston, you know? It's just like quotas on cops, man. If these cops have to have quotas to arrest people, well, a lot of stuff's going to get messed up. You know, they had something that just happened in Houston. They had which is horrible, but these police officers were shot in Houston.
Yep.
But the news didn't mention, when they busted. So somebody busted in your house.
The cop that got shot?
All 5. They were all in plain clothes. So if you come in my house in plain, you're going to get shot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to go.
Right.
You better identify yourself.
Yeah.
So, and then they also said that they were dealing. There was just a lot of suspicions with the story. And if you look at it, and even all the neighbors said, I don't know what they're talking about. This was one of the nicest couples. Sure. It was a husband and wife, that they went into. I don't know. I don't know the full story. We love law enforcement. We have many friends in law enforcement. But I don't know what was going on there.
Right.
That was something fun.
Look, Craig, what do you want to kind of, I
definitely want to cover Bigfoot next week.
And I wouldn't mind going into talking a little bit about these chemtrails to find out, because I really haven't looked, and I remember looking up probably about a week ago, and I noticed them getting gas, and I'm like, oh, shoot,
a load of them in the sky.
Yes.
It was last week, and even Paul brought it up. He's like, man, dude, I got headaches from it. Something's going on.
I never noticed any of that.
I noticed it too, because
but I noticed them up there. I'm like, whoa, that's what's marking Shelley talking about it on their show.
Was it Down the Rabbit Hole?
Down the Rabbit Hole.
Shelley, yeah.
And she was talking about these chemtrails. Of course, she's from California. They probably have a ton of that stuff over there.
Yes.
But, maybe we just didn't notice it as much over here.
Yeah. And that's been a talk. I mean, people have been talking about those chemtrails for a while now. Because I remember I was at the gym, in Macomb, and they had this old guy came in, and he was telling me all about, and I thought he was crazy. I was like, all right, man, whatever, It's no, I'm telling you, man, you gotta watch Alex Jones, and you gotta have all these chemtrails and stuff, And
you're like, you got a couple screws loose.
Yeah, he was like, he had a big old beard, like he'd been living in the woods for a while.
He's probably right.
And he's probably right. That's what's crazy about it,
Definitely.
It's the people that are tuned in. But you think about it, we're so distracted in this world today that we live in.
I definitely want to take a look at that Gleason map. When we get that in, find out what's going on with that.
Mark's putting this one.
If he's got one, because we ordered one on Amazon
and it just never showed up, and I'm very upset. I don't know if that Bezos guys, because Bezos is another one.
And it's
trying to be like Elon Musk.
But then I look it up. It was available for direct shipment, and it would be 2 to 3 days. It said, on back order for a little map.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
But you think, maybe it went to the neighbor's house.
No, it didn't.
Maybe Robbie has.
It showed my thing delivered.
Maybe Miss Marianne across the street has.
Right.
Why did I get this flat earth map?
Right.
And we're wondering, why did we get this lingerie?
But, we definitely want to thank everybody from...
thank y'all for tuning into the show, and we really... Please tell your friends and family, hey, look, even if you don't believe it, you got to watch these two guys.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to believe. We're trying to figure it out. We're hunting it ourselves, and that's why we named the show "Hunting the Flat Earth," because we're looking into it, and just like a lot of people, and we're going back and forth with our thoughts, and but we just want to know the truth.
That's it.
It's all about the truth, and don't forget to pick up your copy of Flat Truth by Mark Hollander.
Yes.
And it's on Amazon.
You also got another reference book that's really good right there.
This is Eric Dubay, The Flat Earth Conspiracy.
Eric Dubay. He lives in the country.
Watch his videos though.
All over YouTube, and he really, he backs up a lot. He's got a lot of solid evidence, man.
This is what Mark used. You can see the writings in here that he's going through and highlighted points. But it gets a lot of, let me tell you, this stuff gets real deep. It'll tell you,
And all the debunk videos that I see trying to debunk this, I can't read them at all. I can only understand, literally, it makes no sense. But this makes sense, you know? So that's what, folks, don't do what man tells you to do. Do what you say. You go, you make the thing, you know? I even say that even in your relationship with the God. Man will corrupt that. You go and just get into the Bible yourself. And pray to the Lord that he blesses you to understand it, because understanding it is the main thing, you know? And that just happened with me a few years back. I would open up the Bible and wouldn't understand a friggin' thing in it. And then a light switch kicked, and I just started understanding. And I know that's
and the reason that did kind of interest us in all of this is when Mark was saying, go look and do your research in the Bible. 200 It talks about 200 times about the firmament and that the earth is flat.
Yes.
You know, so
well, we thank y'all so much for tuning in to FERLive.com, Flat Earth Radio Media Group, and also on the YouTube, you can catch us. And please come back next Monday and be with us.
And it will be on YouTube, and it's on Flat Earth Radio Live.
Is what you punch in.
Is what you punch in on YouTube, and you can pick me and Craig up on Mondays.
You can scroll down, you'll see a picture of us in cowboy hats that Rick made.
Yes. Thank you, Rick. Yep. Thank you, Rick. And we are out. Flat Earth. Back to you, the ferret.
This is come from the stars. Researchers at Herschel Space Observatory of the European Space Agency wanted to look deeper into this. They found a protostar in the southern constellation known as Perseus. It is believed that this protostar is only 100,000 years old or less, so it is very young for a star. Surrounding the protostar is a huge cloud of dust and gas, which is responsible for creating it. The observatory used an infrared instrument to detect the chemical elements of these clouds. They discovered that the clouds were made from oxygen atoms and hydrogen atoms. If you remember high school science class, then you will know that oxygen and hydrogen are the two chemical elements that make up water. And you can't have water without these two elements. So therefore, one can only conclude that the protostar must be producing water if oxygen and hydrogen are present. And this prompted the researchers to study those atoms and see which path they take. Sure enough, it was discovered that the protostar forms water. How is this possible? Aren't stars supposed to be like 180,000 degrees Celsius? According to the theory, protostars have a north pole and south pole just like planets. These are the coldest areas of the protostar, which are about 2,000 to 3,000 degrees Celsius. While this may seem hot to us, it is actually cold for a star. It is these low temperatures that allow protostars to rapidly shoot water droplets like a jet from their pole regions. But as the droplets reach space, the extremely hot gas cloud surrounding the protostar turns the water into gas. The gas keeps moving until it eventually gets far enough away from the cloud to where the temperature is cold again. Then, the gas reverses itself and turns back into water. If you consider how all the protostars in the galaxy are probably doing this same thing, this explains how outer space is consumed with oceans of water. The protostars are just constantly jetting out water that turns to gas. If you consider how all the protostars in the galaxy are probably doing this same thing, this explains how outer space is consumed with oceans of water. The protostars are just constantly jetting out water that turns to gas and then turns into water again. All this water continues to fill up outer space and make it a bigger ocean of water. Of course, we still need to convince people here on Earth that space water exists in the first place. At least for now, there is a clear explanation as to where the water comes from. Of course, we still need to convince people here on Earth that space water exists in the first place. At least for now, there is a clear explanation as to where the water comes from. NASA might admit water molecules exist in space, but they won't admit that oceans of water exist there and that our entire flat plane is surrounded by it. If someone could just make a homemade rocket and travel past the exosphere, then they could discover this for themselves and a whole lot more. For more Flat Earth News Briefs, log on to FENewsNet.com, and I'm your host, Rick Lotek. Hey there, this is Flat Earth Radio Live, station production manager Rick Lotek. And I'm here to tell you about Flat Earth News Talk with Wes Stace. Only we've got him, only Flat Earth Radio Live. Join Wes Stace and Flat Earth News Talk Saturday and Sunday starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and ending at 4, and then starting again at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and ending at 8 o'clock. Wes Stace with Flat Earth News Talk. Only here on